Hi everybody, it's Dr. V. I am back with your Karmic, the Karmic connection reading for June 10th through June 17th. I'm going to do a little bit of a different spread today. I just felt led to do this, and I'm starting with the Lover's Tarot by Jane Lyle. And I'm using a spread to start that only uses the major arcana. So I want to get an indication of what is going on with this karmic connection. I also want to say thank you to all of you who have liked, commented, shared, subscribed. Welcome all my new subscribers. Thanks for being here. And also wanted to let you know, please feel free to follow me on social media. You can click the links in my profile. I'd love to connect with you there. If you need a quick question answered, you can reach me on Instant Go. That's for iPhone users. If you're not an iPhone user and you need, you have a question, then reach out, send me a message, and we'll arrange it privately. For like the similar thing, same mini type reading as Instant Go offers. And if you need a full reading, check the description box. All of my offerings are there, and it's super easy to schedule. And yeah, that's it. Thank you again. I love you all. Thanks for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this. I shuffled a number of times, and we're going to go for it. Spirit, use me as a clear channel for this message. May the messages come through be those that are in the highest good for all those concerned. So this is the overall energy of the karmic connection. Justice. The immediate past, the Tower. Do I want to read reversals? Yes, okay. The Emperor in reverse. That's the present. The future, the Hierophant, and underlying influences, the High Priestess. Very interesting spread. So the energy right now for the karmic connection is justice. It is something is coming to a head. That's what how I read the Justice card. It's like there is, in this particular deck, because it talks all about love and romance and relationship, this one specifically talks about being imbalanced. What this is saying is that both people in this connection are pretty focused on like their careers or the kids or the house. They're not really focused on each other. It seems like they probably have like mental compatibility. They don't have, there's very little passion there, so they don't fight often. It's like it's one of those situations that it's like it's not, there's not a lot of tension, but there's not a lot of passion either. It's just kind of like companions. This is saying that they could possibly be feeling like they are committed to their future together. That's not necessarily the only situation, but what it feels like is a lot of this. They're just in this situation where it feels like calm right now. It doesn't feel. There's just not a lot of tension, but there's not a lot of not a lot of passion, not a lot of fire or fuel in it either. And so it's like they're kind of like in the space of like, well, I guess we could sort of like do this forever if we wanted to, because it's easy, it's not complicated. Maybe the karmic partner kind of tolerates things that perhaps the divine wouldn't. It's just interesting. It's just kind of feels like a very, literally like kind of a blah energy, like chicken without seasoning. So in the past, this relationship had a Tower moment. The Tower in reverse is all about breakup. So this connection could actually they may have gone through a breakup. They may have gone through a really tough time where they separated, or thought about separating, or wanted to separate. It's like some dramatic event has happened in their life, and it is, and it was sudden, it was unexpected, it wasn't something that they were prepared for. It has definitely caused some traumatic responses. Like, I don't mean trauma, I mean little t trauma, not like PTSD. It's just like any kind, I mean, even if you think about it, like a bruise is a trauma. Okay, so this is like what I'm saying is it's not like terrible, it's just been unsettling and not what they wanted to experience. And it happened largely because they were ignoring the issues, which is what this is about. This is this like ignoring the issues, focusing on other things, not taking care of what needs to be taken care of. And so that happened in the recent past, and it's like this card is like suggests that there is no promise of reconciliation. They may or may not come back together. It's possible, you know, when this tower happened. But what I'm getting from this is that they did have a tower moment. They did contemplate, or even did actually break up or separate for a while. And then right now they're in this space of trying to figure out if they want to try and work things out, if they want to try and come into balance, if they want to try and continue this relationship. It feels like it's very uncertain right now, and it also suggests like a very one-sided relationship. So I'm getting that one person in this connection was very much a taker, one person is very much a giver, and it's taken its toll, and this tower has caused them to examine whether or not they want to continue in that energy, or if they want to allow this, you know, it's like if this relationship has been extremely one-sided and people haven't been feeling like their needs were being met or weren't even a priority, they may be starting to recognize with this Justice card that the relationship falling apart is actually the best thing that could happen. So the next card is the present time, and the present time is the Emperor in reverse. And it says, this relationship has a calculating energy to it. It's like manipulative. They might be using each other for status, for gains, ego boosting, security. It's like, again, going back to that imbalance of relationship. Like maybe one person takes care of everything at home and it suits the other person and they don't have to like put in a whole lot of effort, and so that works for them. It could be that one person has some status or perceived status, and so they're holding on to that because it's like, well, I'm not sure that I want to let this go. It could be material things. There is very little emotional nourishment in this connection. It's very much like a dry, like I said, like chicken without seasoning, just very drab and dry. It's very imbalanced. This can be suggestive of a situation where it's like an older man with a lot of money that ends up with like a younger, very beautiful woman and is using her for ego, and she's using him for money, but there's no love. It's just like, you know, it's suiting whatever need it's meeting right now. It's like, it could even be like using each other for sex. You know, it could be like, you know, booty calls or whatever. There is definitely struggle that is happening in this connection right now. This karmic situation is, it's like, I know, like I said earlier, that it suggests that it's like peaceful, like there's not a lot of tension, and I don't feel a lot of like overt tension. Like I don't feel like screaming, fighting kind of energy, but I do feel like a power struggle. Like there are people are trying to get one up on the other. People are trying to maintain their position. It's like a UFC fight. They're like grappling. But this is like mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's not like physically. So on the surface, it's like if you looked at this connection on the surface, it would be like a duck just like floating along the lake. They look like they're just chilling, right? But if you look under the water, there's all this churning and activity that's happening, and that is what's going on in this connection. Yes, it's a very, you know, not a great energy. To be honest with you, it's just not a great energy. And in the future, the Hierophant is, it's about, most people consider this like a marriage card. But this is also about recognizing that there is a bond in this situation. It definitely is trying to come into balance. It's about what I'm getting is that this is about people examining whether or not this is a connection that they even want to continue, and like would they want to go forward? Will it ever come into balance, or is it always going to be this out of balance, not fun? You know, either one extreme or the other is what I'm getting, is that this relationship goes from one extreme to the other, where it's like maybe things get really drab and boring and dry for a while, and then like the crisis hits, right? The tower, something happens that shakes things up, and then suddenly it's like, oh, now all the love is back and everything is great, and it, you know, but it's not real and it's not sustaining, and it always goes back to status quo. So I'm getting in the future is that there's going to be a lot of contemplation around whether this connection can lead to anything long-term and significant, and whether they want it to, whether they want to continue, or whether it's time to do like, you know, was it Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers? No, Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to fold him, know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk, know when to run. That's the future energy. Right now, they're still struggling to to get one up on the other. This is not love. It's not connection. It's, you know, it's a power struggle. But this power struggle is leading to this real deep examination of, do I even want this to continue? Do I even want this to continue? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. It feels gross. And it says in the future that this is like, they'll be looking at things with more, you know, reason. It's not going to be this like emotional, hold on one second. Excuse me. It's not going to be this emotional, just trying to get my needs met, trying to maintain status quo. It's going to be stepping into a more logical and rational position, recognizing that, excuse me, the decision that is made is going to have long-lasting and significant impact, and that they need to make sure that they have their ducks in a row before they move forward. So the underlying energies are the High Priestess in reverse, and it's like recognizing that so much of what they are holding on to right now is fantasy. It's not reality, which is why that Hierophant, where it's like looking at things more rationally, more logically, as opposed through this lens of illusion. So this underlying influence is like fantasy is, you know, the relationship is not what it seems. It's like they've been selling themselves a fantasy and they've been buying it. They will be coming to a point of recognizing that is that this, you know, relationship doesn't have the depth that they really desire. It doesn't have the there's no connection. It's like about as deep as a kitchen sink, and they want something a little bit, you know, deeper than that. There's somebody in the relationship who is actually behaving very shallow in this connection. They are someone, actually it feels like both parties are manipulating each other right now to get what they want. But underneath it all, it's like this emotional isolation. So even if they're occupying the same space, they're not emotionally connected, and that's the underlying energy, is that it's really like forcing them to really start to examine like what's really going on underneath things, as opposed to the illusions that they want to buy. They want to buy and sell to themselves. It's like they're going to reach a choice point. They can either open up and examine this honestly and directly, or they're going to just continue feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied. So it definitely, the energy that I'm getting from this is definitely there's people that are hesitating to move forward with any kind of future plans, because they're recognizing that this is not real. It's an illusion that they've been buying into, and they're moving into this space of questioning whether they want to continue with that. So I'm going to move this aside and move into some other questions. So how they're connecting right now, even though we know that it doesn't look like they're really connecting at all, but I'm going to pull a couple of cards for that. Spirit, how is this karmic connection connecting presently? What are their connecting energies? Okay, the first card is like the, this is like the devil, temptation. If you look at it, it's like pulling the strings. There's the snake, there's the apple. This is like very much a temptation card. And this one, look at that, walking a tightrope. You know, feeling very, it's like The energy of this card, I don't know why I pulled 2 from this deck. I really didn't intend to, but I guess that was what was meant to come out, so I'm just going to roll with it. Usually I pull 1 from 2 different decks, but what I'm getting from this is like this, you know, this temptation, this this energy. It's like it's like this forbidden fruit that's connecting them. Like, it's almost like they know that it's not right, and because it's not right, it feels more appealing. It's weird. It's like that pull toward, like, you know, sometimes people will be like, girls like bad boys kind of energy. It's like really being pulled to somebody that you know is not good for you. It's indulging in weaknesses, basically. It's instead of stepping up and doing the hard thing and doing the right thing, this is about indulging in weaknesses. This is easy. Giving into temptation is easy. Resisting it and standing strong is hard. And then this energy, if you look at it, it looks like this woman is just exhausted, just lying on the floor. It's like she's perhaps been practicing and putting a lot of energy into walking this tightrope, right? And now she's just depleted. Like, this is hard. It's a lot of work. It's like she wants this success, but it's a lot of effort, and it's not. Just at the point of giving up. Literally, like, if you look at her, she just looks exhausted and just ready to just give up. Like, it's just too much work. It's like she keeps putting in this effort. I'm talking about she in this card, not in the, you know, just the energy. It's like somebody has been putting in a lot of effort and is just feeling freaking exhausted. Like, I've been doing so much, giving so much, and I'm depleted. I'm not getting anything back. Is it even worth it? That is the connecting energy of this situation right now. Not positive energies. And these are not, you know, these cards in and of themselves are not negative. Just to be clear, they're not negative. It's just the messages that are coming through. So the card for, I'm going to pull 2 cards for the divine counterpart in this situation. And then 2 cards for the karmic person. Okay, so Spirit, message for the divine counterpart. It's actually a really beautiful card. This is the energy of the divine counterpart in this connection. And ecstasy. Cool. I like that card a lot. These 2 card combinations are really, it's a really great thing. This is a card about distance and perception. So perspective, getting a different perspective. So the divine counterpart who's in this karmic situation is either physically getting some distance from the karmic. So it's like maybe they are spending time apart, traveling. Like I said earlier, it could be actually they've separated. One person maybe spending time with family or something, just to kind of get some space from the connection so they can see things a little bit clearer. But it's also like a sense of emotional detachment so that they can see things clearly. That's literally what this is about, is getting some distance so you can see things better. It's like, if I put this up like here, right, you can't see it because it's too damn close. So when you get some distance, you're able to see the whole picture. And that's what the divine counterpart is doing in this time right now. They are excuse me, it's like starting to get a different and higher perspective of what's going on in their life, patterns, and why they keep doing the same things. Now this card is about it says ecstasy. It's yielding, rapture, bliss. So what this is saying to me is that the divine counterpart in this situation, this karmic relationship, is beginning the process of surrendering to, you know, rapture is rising up. Rapture is like, you know, going up and transcending. So what this says to me is that as they get more perspective and more distance from this karmic situation, they are feeling more and more pulled to give into, to surrender to this love connection where they do feel that rapture, where they feel that bliss. Like, they're really starting to recognize more and more that that's what they want. So where the karmic person is in this situation, it's this jester. You see the yin and yang and playing the lute. I think that's what that is. And seduction, allure, desire, and manipulation. Oh, karmic. This is this card is about achieving harmony. This is a person who, if you look at the jester is there for entertainment purposes. So if you think about like old, royal times, the jester was there to provide entertainment. It was a distraction. The jester didn't really have, that was their job, was to just kind of be a fool and make people laugh. And they told, that was their role. This person, this karmic person, is always sacrificing themselves for the higher good. They're always doing things, it's like they'll put their feelings, their needs, their desires aside, quote unquote, for the higher good of the connection. And that is not a good energy, because it's just like then your needs aren't being met. It's just not a positive energy. But that's where they are, and that's what they're doing, and that's what they feel like they should be doing. But it comes from a place of manipulation. It doesn't come from a place of there's like doing things for the higher good, and where you sacrifice yourself for the higher good, right? It's like, I don't know why William Wallace keeps coming up in my head today, but like William Wallace in Braveheart, he sacrificed himself, but he sacrificed himself for a higher purpose. He didn't do it selfishly. He didn't do it to get his needs met. He did it because he was doing something for the good of humanity, good for the people. This is not that energy. This energy is all about manipulating, sacrificing the self to get their own needs met. It's that power play, right? It's like this person, this karmic person, only knows how to get their needs met through manipulation, and that's how they exert their power. That's how they get the shit that they want, is simply by doing this seduction. It could be sexual. It could be, pulling on the desires, pulling on the heartstrings of the divine counterpart in the situation. And it could just simply be they know how to freaking manipulate them. They know how to pull their strings, and that's what they're doing. Very interesting. Not so great energies right now. So I'm going to move these aside. So what can be expected for this week? Can I get a witness? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So the first card that comes out is this witness card, which is about it literally says to know personal evidence, to speak out. So this is somebody who's going to be coming into deeper awareness, deeper knowledge, where it's like they're not going to be in denial anymore, or they're cutting out of denial. Okay, so there's like it says personal evidence. It could be that they've been like ignoring the signs, like that earlier card that we pulled with the from the, oh God, what was that? It was from the beginning of the reading. There was the illusion, the high priestess in reverse, that's what it was, the illusions. So what this is saying to me is that somebody is going to start coming out of that. They're going to start coming out of that illusion state and wanting to know and starting to look for the personal evidence. They're going to start looking from that more of a detached state around, I know this person is saying this, but this is what I'm seeing. This is the evidence. And they may begin speaking their truth, which is great. Okay, and this card, it says, this is basically, if you look at the connection, it's like this woman is like reaching out from this jar and like reaching out to him. This is about connections, having spiritual bonds. It's definitely about this this person has, if you look at this mask, he's taken the mask off and he's getting a little more authentic and more honest with themselves. So this energy is present for this connection where, like I said, the illusions are going to start to come down, the masks are going to start to come off, and people are going to start becoming a little more honest with themselves. This is, this karmic situation does have some connection to past life. That's why there's karma. But what this is saying is that this person is recognizing that there is this bond, but they're also recognizing that they have the freedom and the power to move on from this. Like, this is an illusion, right? This person is not real. This is a person whose head is in a jar. That's not a real connection. You can't have a full-on relationship with someone that's an illusion. And they're coming into that realization. I feel like illusions will be tumbling this week in this connection. So, very interesting energies. So, some messages from what is this deck? Shaman's Oracle, I think. It's the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. Just some messages about what's happening this week, Spirit. Omens. Okay, they're going to start seeing signs. There's going to be signs and things that are going to start, the saying, like a bad omen. Omens can be good too, but omens are definitely about signs and synchronicities and signals, and it's like spirit trying to get your attention and trying to point you in the right direction. Now, whether you pay attention to that or not is, really up to you, but what I'm getting is that they will definitely be getting omens this week. They're going to be getting messages. They're going to be focusing and paying attention to their intuition. They're going to be looking at different patterns, things that they might say. You might have seen as like what's the word I'm looking for? Coincidence. They're going to start seeing it more clearly as signs, synchronicities, and things to pay attention to. There's going to be an elevation of self-love. So what I'm getting from this is like, people who want to stay in these lower level energies, these lower level, not so great, just these gross kinds of energies are lacking in self-love. They're going to be moving through that this week and recognizing, man, if I really loved myself, I wouldn't be putting up with this shit. I'd be doing, demanding better from my partners, from my connections, from my life, from myself. Holy smokes, you guys, this is literally what we just talked about. Stripping illusions. Illusions are going to be coming down this week, and it's going to be coming down, I really get, as people step more into self-love. It's like, once you love yourself, I think it was Charlie Chaplin that wrote a poem of like, when I began to love myself, and it's like, when I began to love myself, I began to treat myself better. I began to eat better. I began to take care of myself. I began to say no to things that don't serve me anymore. And this self-love is actually going to help get into the stripping of illusions. It's going to be like, well, if I really love myself, I allow myself to see the situation as it is instead of seeing what I want to see and continuing to engage in these patterns. It's like one or both parties are going to start to peel back the layers and start to recognize that this relationship is unfulfilling, that it's based on illusion, false beliefs, it's chaotic, it's unhealthy, it's not what they want, and they are changing. This is definitely really connected to the Tower card that we saw earlier. So let me move this aside. And Spirit, what are the lessons that they're learning for the Language of Letting Go deck? What are the lessons that are being learned this week? Learning discipline. Today I will surrender to discipline. I realize that sometimes it takes time to see the fruits of my labors, yet I still need to practice discipline. Help me to remember, God, that I'm moving forward and that I'm learning the very important art of discipline. Standing firmly in my truth. Today I will acknowledge that my knowledge, feelings, and beliefs are all mine, and they're just as valid as anyone else's. I'm open to learning from others and their experiences, but I will stand firmly in my own truth. This is really beautiful. There's definitely this truth, standing firmly in my truth is definitely in alignment with allowing these illusions to come down. So that's really I really get the sense that this is gonna be very transformative for a transformative week for a lot of the people in karmic situations. And so again, just as I always say, make sure that you're continuing to pray, that you're continuing to stay in that high vibe energy, because this is not an easy situation. It's not easy for the divine counterpart who's in a karmic situation, and it's not easy for the karmic who's in that situation. And because we are learning and practicing the art of unconditional love, it's really important that we stay in that energy, as tempting as it may be to go into negativity and judgment. We definitely want to stay out of that energy, okay? And just remember that everything that's happening is supposed to happen for our highest good, and staying in that high vibe energy will really help this connection to transform the way that it needs to. So I hope this reading was helpful. Please let me know if it resonates, and I look forward to seeing you all back here again soon. Take care. Bye.